This episode of Inspire AI podcast is sponsored by Exponent 21. I keep hearing the same thing from business leaders lately. We're doing the work, but leads are harder to explain. Traffic is down, attribution feels fuzzy, and the old answers don't really fit anymore. What's changed is how people search. Instead of clicking links, people are asking questions, and AI is answering them. Tools like ChatGPT, Google's AI-powered results, and Perplexity are shaping which brands get mentioned, referenced, and remembered. Exponent 21 specializes in AI SEO. They help businesses understand how to show up consistently inside those AI-generated answers across questions about their industry, their services, and their brand. What stands out to me is that when people ask AI tools, who's leading in this space? Exponent 21 and its leaders are often referenced near the top. That comes from doing the work and shaping how this new search environment actually functions. To understand what this shift means for your business, visit exponent21.com. Welcome back to Inspire AI, the podcast where we explore how leaders, builders, and communities can stay thoughtful, adaptive, and prepared in an AI-accelerated world. Over the last several episodes, I've explored a major transformation happening across software engineering and organizational leadership. I talked about coding becoming increasingly automated, engineering moving up the abstraction stack, evaluation becoming a premium skill, leadership evolving into systems orchestration, organizations adapting to intelligent workflows. And naturally, all of this leads to a very personal question. When AI changes how software gets built, what should engineers focus on now? Especially the earlier career engineers, the students, junior developers, people trying to build durable careers in an uncertain environment, for sure. Because I think a lot of people right now are caught between two extremes. On one side, you have fear, and on the other side, you have hype. On the one side, AI will replace engineers. On the other side, AI will solve everything. But reality is actually way more nuanced than either of those narratives. So today, I would like to talk with you about how to build an engineering career that remains resilient, adaptable, and valuable in the age of AI, not by resisting the change, but by evolving alongside it. Now, I think this is one of the most important mindset shifts you need to make, because the goal is not to compete with AI at raw output. Your long-term strategy is this: you will outperform AI at repetitive implementation forever. That's not a durable plan, because these AI systems are going to continue improving the generation and automation of everything. And that's a trend that's unlikely to reverse. Engineers before and after AI are valuable because they solve meaningful problems. They understand the systems they're working with. They navigate ambiguity. They can make great trade-off calls. They can communicate clearly. They can design intelligently while building the trust around them. And those skills are the most important in AI native environments. Your goal is increasing your leverage through AI while strengthening uniquely human capabilities. That applies for every industry out there, not just engineering, but this podcast episode is focused on engineering. So with that, one of the strongest investments engineers can make right now is developing systems thinking. You could call it critical thinking, but systems thinking is specific to engineering because increasingly engineering is less about the isolated code and more about the interconnected systems. Try to understand this. Architecture, data flow, reliability, scalability, organizational dynamics, workflow interactions, and governance structures are ruling the roost. You need to learn how these pieces connect because the AI can help generate the components, with a click of a button or with a spoken word. And honestly, this is one of the clearest patterns I see among highly effective engineers in the first place. They think beyond the ticket. They understand context. They sniff out the edge cases. And this context is becoming a major competitive advantage in AI native environments. Whether you're in an engineering field or not, you need to learn how to evaluate. I talked about this 2 episodes ago. Generation is easy. Evaluation is hard. The engineers who know how to validate outputs, detect weaknesses, and identify the risks are compounding their judgment. And I think this is especially important for younger engineers to understand, because you don't need to know everything immediately. A lot of this generation and previous generations have grown up thinking that book smarts will get you wherever you need to go in life. But what you really need now is to develop the habit of thinking critically about the systems. When I think about that, I think about Albert Einstein's claim. You know what? I don't know if it's Einstein or not. It's just something I heard that Einstein said. He said that I don't need to learn the math if I have a calculator that'll do the work for me. Which, I get it. He's a really smart guy. He can put all sorts of brilliant ideas together and produce amazing outcomes. So why not leverage the tools that you have to get the mundane done? Anyway, I also think that communication as a skill cannot be overstated inside engineering, because AI native environments require, demand, and reward clarity. Clear prompts, clear requirements, clear architecture, clear constraints, and clear reasoning. If you can communicate effectively, you will gain disproportionate leverage. And that goes beyond presentations or meetings. You need to seek the ability to explain trade-offs, define intent, align teams, and reduce ambiguity so you can coordinate workflows properly. You might even say that the future engineer is part technologist and part translator, which is a powerful combination even today. Here's another one for you future engineers. Build product intuition. One of the biggest risks in highly automated environments is becoming disconnected from real user problems. Start with the job to be done. Velocity without user understanding will create waste. Just because it works doesn't mean it should be left unchecked. So strengthen your product intuition. Ask yourself, why does this system exist? What problem does it solve? What trade-offs matter most? And what does success actually mean? What outcomes are users trying to achieve? While you are trying to figure out what the outcomes users are trying to achieve, also understand the business context and the human needs. Believe you me, engineers who understand the business context and human needs become much harder to replace because they can contribute direction, not just execution. Okay, you intelligent people out there, what about emotional intelligence? Your adaptability matters more than certainty. As languages change, frameworks change, architectures change, and platforms change, engineers will thrive by not being the ones who resist every transition. They'll be the ones who stay curious, who continue learning, who experiment thoughtfully, who adapt without panic, and who build transferable thinking skills. And honestly, I think that mindset matters more than any single tool, or any composition of tools even. I learned early in my career that tools continuously evolve, and I must adapt to the latest changes. And now that I'm thinking about it, growth in my career has accelerated because adaptability compounds. So as technical systems become more capable, deeply human skills become more valuable. Things like strategic thinking, empathy, collaboration, creativity, and personal resilience. They're scaling skills. And as AI increases the technical leverage, the humans must still define the priorities and the meaning and the mission and the values. So the future engineer must be increasingly interdisciplinary. And I personally am super excited about that evolution. All right, so let's zoom out for a moment. There's no doubt that every major technological shift creates anxiety, and we're all feeling it. We're all on the edge of our seats. but it's creating tremendous opportunity. Think about how the internet created entire industries. Cloud computing reshaped software delivery, and mobile transformed global interaction models. AI will create new categories of work we can't fully predict yet. New workflows, interfaces, operating models, new leadership structures, forms of creativity, and systems challenges. That's where the opportunity lies. And that's opportunity for engineers who are adaptable and systems oriented, especially those willing to evolve early. So as I close, I'd like to reflect on one of the healthiest ways to think about AI as an amplifier of leverage, of creativity, of productivity and complexity. In amplified environments, human judgment will matter more and more. So if you're an engineer wondering how to prepare for the future, don't optimize for one tool set. Optimize for adaptability. Learn how systems work. Learn how to communicate clearly. Learn how to evaluate critically and think strategically. And know that the future will continue to change. But people who combine the technical fluency with sound judgment will remain incredibly valuable. Not despite AI, but because of it. And that's it. So until next time, stay curious, keep innovating, and keep building the kind of adaptability that turns technological change into opportunity.